All right, here we go. Now we'll be talking about, hello guys, I'm back, I'm Zaid. We're talking about balance of payment. Now, we would go in depth of the current account. What exactly is current account? Now, current account is the most used account in the balance of payment. It's further divided into four, which includes trade in goods, trade in services, investment income, also known as primary income, current transfers, also known as secondary income. Now, if we talk about visible trade, as we've discussed about earlier, visible trade is exchange of tangible goods. Are we getting a trade in goods? And if we talk about invisible, intangible, trade in services. Trade in goods. Now, what exactly is meant by trade in goods? Now, the current account has four parts. The first part is trade in goods. Trade in goods is the import and exports of finished goods, semi finished goods, and component parts for assembly. So, for example, maybe a country like Japan decides to import goods from maybe Dubai or maybe from Saudi Arabia. So, this would be a minus on this. For instance, this would be 10. This is what? Debit. Let's suppose Japan, on the other hand, exports cars to maybe some other country like Saudi Arabia. So it is, and that car is worth, let's suppose, 30. So this is a credit transaction. So that means there's a positive balance of how much? 20 on this side. Now, talking about trade in services. Trade in services, which includes invisible, that's is the import and exports of services, for example, tourism, financial services, consultancies, insurance, and so on. Let's assume maybe Japan decides to buy insurance from London, let's suppose, maybe from UK. So this is debit because money is going out of the country. Let's suppose it's worth 5 million or maybe $5. And Japan decides to train some workers in US and that's worth 15. So this is a plus again, 15 plus. So this makes how much? Again, they have a surplus of 10 in this one. They had a surplus of 20 in this one. So that means accumulatedly the balance of trade is in surplus by how much? 20 here. Look, 20. I'm just writing, I don't have much space here. 20 and this is 10. So the balance of trade is in surplus by how much? 20 and 10, that's 30. So this is actually, if we talk about trade in goods and trade in services, this is actually the balance of trade. Now, balance of payment gives a complete picture about the performance of the economy in terms of its imports and exports. That is money coming into the country and money going out of the country. Now, if we talk about investment income, now what exactly is meant by investment income? Is the overseas activity that leads to a flow of money. This flow can be either inflow or this can be outflow, either by earnings of residents from investments abroad. For instance, if I invest maybe in some other country, maybe if I invest in Mexico, so this is an investment. Now, the money that I get that comes into my country maybe as profits, so that's inflow. Let's suppose that is worth 35. This is a plus. And on the other hand, let's suppose businesses like McDonald's, Nike, they take profits back to their country, and that profit is worth, let's suppose, 10. So that means there's a minus 10 and there's a plus 35. So that means there is 25 positive on this account. Okay. Furthermore, and payments of investment income. Now, payments of investment income means just the same way I was explaining about McDonald's or maybe Nike, if they're taking money from here in the form of profits. So that's payments of investment income. Example, interest. It can even be interest. For example, maybe some foreigners decide to invest in our banks and they're taking profits, they're taking interest back to their country. So that's an amount taken from investment income. It can even be profits, as I was mentioning. It can even be dividends that they're taking from here because this is the profit or the earning that's taken by residents of the country or foreigners. Are we getting it? For example, if foreigners invest in let's suppose in Pakistan, and they take profits back. So they would take profits back from this account, investment income. This is primary income. Moreover, if let's suppose there are some Pakistani firms located maybe in UAE, they bring back profits into the country, so that would come from this account, investment income. Are we clear with this? Now, if we talk about current transfer, it's also known as secondary income. This covers payments made and receipts received for which there is no corresponding exchange of an actual good or service. Now, this makes it very much clear that this is actually what? For example, aid, donation, it can be charity, it can even be remittances. Remittances are actually the money sent by people earning abroad, sending money back to their parent country, or maybe sending money back to their home country for their relatives. Maybe it can be for parents. So that's actually remittance. Especially third world countries or developing countries receive a lot of amount of remittances from from people working abroad. Are we getting it? They send money back to their parent country. From workers to their home countries. So this account, for example, let's suppose maybe a country like maybe Japan decides to give aid, and this aid was, let's suppose, 70. Let's make it more. It was 90 million, or maybe $90, and they received a remittance of just let's suppose 10. So let's add here 10. So they received a remittance of just 10. So that means, how much do they have? A surplus or a negative? They have a negative of how much here? They have a negative of 80 on this account. So they have a negative. So that means how much? They had 20 positive here. They had 10 positive here. So that made 30. Adding 25 with this, 30, 25, 55. 55 was positive, but 80 was negative. So how much negative do they have? I guess they have 25. 25 negative. I guess that's the maths. So yeah. So this is 25 negative. So we can clearly see that one of the accounts, or maybe three of the accounts, can be in surplus, but if one of the account is in deficit by a significant amount, so that makes the entire current account to go in deficit. And similarly, it can be vice versa. It can be in surplus if any of the account, or if let's suppose three of the accounts are in negative, and one of the account is in surplus, and that surplus is sufficient enough to cover the deficit on these sides, so it would eventually be in surplus. So that means if one of the account is in surplus, it's not necessarily something bad for the economy. Are we getting it? Because if some of the accounts are in surplus, and that surplus is sufficient enough to convert the current account into surplus, so this shows that the country is earning more. It's having a current account surplus. I hope that's clear. Let's stop here.